In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to dodge and burn an image in Photoshop. So we're going to pick up where we left off in the last tutorial. Then we've already color corrected this image to how we see it looks best. And then we're going to do the finishing touch in that we weren't able to get enough out of the brightness and contrast slider to brighten up specific areas of the image without modifying it overall. So to add a dodge layer, in order to lighten the image or darken the image, we're going to go up to the top into Layer, New Layer, and we're going to change the blending mode to an overlay. And what's really important is that we're checking off Fill with 50% gray. In your Layers palette, you'll notice that an overlay layer was created. If you do not see the gray box, then you need to delete this layer and start again. Once this layer has been created, we're going to go over to our Dodge tool, which is in our toolbar. Looks to be like a lollipop, and our adjustments are at the top. Same as a regular brush, in that these are the styles that will come out with the Dodge tool. And the size of the brush is determined by the slider here. You can move that. And to get off of this preview, you can click back on that icon. And that's going to determine what the brush looks like. And then the second step would be how strong the brush's exposure is. In this case, I always say it's good to start around like a 38 mid-range. Start to apply a little bit of the tool and then see how it affects the image. On the right hand side in your Layers palette, you'll see that there's a preview of what's happening on your canvas. You may not really notice the effect at first, so you can hit the eye icon in your Layers palette to kind of show your modification. Another tip is if you look at P on your keyboard, 2 brackets to the right of that, 2 over makes your brush bigger, and the 1 over makes it smaller. So you can dodge on your image, kind of brighten it up where you want to brighten it up. It's good to have your brush be proportional to the space that you are dodging or burning, because if it's too small, you'll start to really see the marks. It'll look a little bit fake. If it's too big, you might be hitting too much of an area there. You can also zoom in, Command minus and Command plus to zoom out. Now once you've dodged the image to make it lighter, you can also use the reverse, the burn tool, to make it darker. It's really great for clouds, if you have a sky that's washed out, or maybe some water that's washed out. In this case, maybe I want to burn a little bit of the detail down here. It is located on the left-hand side below the Dodge tool. It looks like a little clenched fist. That is your burn tool. Same rules apply. Your options for your thumbnails and your brushes for that tool are up at the top, and your strength is located up at the top as well. So I'm going to go to a 45 and make my brush a little bit bigger, and there really isn't anything on this image that I find that needs to be burned. If anything, I feel like it needs to be dodged. But just for the sake of the tutorial, to show you how this tool works, when I click on here, I can burn in the image and make it darker. Again, clicking on the icon on the left-hand side, that will give you a preview of what you've done. If you messed up this layer, because we're not working on our image directly on the JPEG, the great thing about making an overlay layer, and the purpose of it, is that if we make any mistakes, we can always throw it out. I'm going to hit Command Z and undo that. And you can also, say you've made some changes and you feel like you kind of want it to not be as intense, we can use our opacity up at the top, and we can just dim down the opacity of that layer so it's not at 100%. And that is your intro to dodging and burning.